And we're live. Hello. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Today's Weather Tonight. Here, as always, I'm your meteorologist, Cloud Hudson. And welcome back, y'all. I figured out how to show y'all my split screen. So I've got two images up right now. Of course, my favorite product out of the GOES satellite is the derived winds. Derived wind motion winds. You can see the approximate altitudes they're corresponding to up here. So you see the big jet stream going right across the country, right across the southeast of the country, in almost perpendicular orientation to the low level winds. And we see that the mid-level winds are more similar to the upper level winds than the lower level winds, which means that most of that, is this veering or backing? Most of that spin as you go up vertically through the atmosphere is going to be in the direction of, it should be veering because it's warm air advection. Most of it is going to be in the lower chunks. You know, if the wind has to change direction as it moves through the atmosphere, where it changes direction most is going to play a part in what weather it'll spawn. So we're having a lot of this low level change in the wind direction, which means that the vorticities on the not low in magnitude, but low in elevation vertically. So this will give rise to a lot of instability down below, which is a great way to keep those storms coming. This is good feed for having potential tornadoes, extreme hail events. Really, when we get that, anything that keeps the vertical motion lifting up, which instability helps with, that's when you get potential for those massive hail reports. And they are seeing massive hail reports here, where the Storm Prediction Center had issued a day one significant a 5% risk outlook. They're seeing there have been reports of up to 2.5-inch large hail over in Arkansas, just near Little Rock. We've also been under some tornado, being ready for tornadoes, but we're not looking at anything. I don't think we're looking at anything on the ground right now. I could be wrong. Let's just go ahead and pull up. Let's go ahead and look at our daytime before it's nighttime. If anything we're spawning, I'd want to see. Let me pull up a live radar for y'all. Let's get a live radar going. Oh, I can't do satellite on that one. Okay, I got to do it here. All right. Ba 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 ba. Oh, I can't do that from this one. I was trying to pull up Radar Omega, but I can't do their online from live. Let me go ahead and just go here. I want to take a look at here. Welcome, everybody. I'm glad that you're back with me. I don't know if anybody's here with me. Hey, 2 of you are here. Say hello in the chat if you can. All right. I'm going to drag this into here. That's not even the region I want. let's take a look at the tropical tidbits. I want to see the upper and lower. So let's go ahead and look at water vapor RGB. Now remember, just like on the derived winds, I'm going to go back to derived winds. Just like on the derived winds, we've got a color code for the vertical component of the atmosphere. So, but this is more related to, these are not the same exact definitions of upper and lower and middle atmosphere. The blue will show on our RGB of, this is a RGB of the water vapor. So it's not necessarily all condensed water, it's all water vapor. But also condensed water resonates with it. Moist low to mid levels are blue, so this is where we're seeing at the surface nice and muggy. Green will indicate that there's moist upper levels, which is a good sign of cloud formation. And high to deep clouds means that there is more convective activity to get those mid-level clouds up to the level that they need to be in order to be severe storms. So out west, you see that we've got some of those high, deep, and again, when all three of them stack together, you can see white, and that will show you like the thickest amount of clouds. And you see that thickest amount of clouds coming here out of the atmospheric river, which is shifted from Southern California all the way down to the Gulf of California, Baja Peninsula area, shooting across the mountains of Mexico and into Texas. Most of our severe storms we're seeing here are in this Arkansas region. You can really see it blow up right there. Right in the middle where my cursor is, you see in the last few frames, we get this little buddy popping up. That's an isolated severe storm that everybody in the area, that's the one that's creating that 2.5-inch hail. So that's what we were a little worried about. As you see this atmospheric river really fan itself out as we go into the overnight hours, I think that this is a perfect setup to see some potential. I'm not going to say like we're not at an enhanced risk of, enhanced risk being a technical term of like a type of warning that the National Weather Service issues. We didn't see an enhanced risk today, but we did see a slight risk for this general area from like the Ozarks into Tennessee, Ohio River Valley region. So we could be looking for some isolated thunderstorms throughout the evening tonight. What's already happened, though, is that we have seen quite a bit of rain throughout this region, where we're seeing this. And you can almost see the way that I have described. You can almost see the way that these lower level winds feed in the blue only. Do you see on this over here on derived winds, you see it is more like looking like a frontal boundary and you're not really sure what it's doing. But here in the you can see this little flank in our water vapor image. You can see this really start to look like a when it starts to look a little wishbone-y, but the wishbone is both closing and rotating as it's moving. That's a different type of angular momentum or vorticity that's storm relative, but it means that the whole of the air mass is moving kind of, you can almost see it moving down and swirling itself back up into the polar stream. This is how we're getting transport of heat and moisture from the equator to the poles, is through this like offshore little like, you can see it folding in. Now, the longer you guys stare at smoke or incense or fire or somebody vaping or whatever, the longer you stare at smoke and fog moving through the air, the better you're going to be able to picture what is happening here. It's like going up, down, and doing swirl and around, but still maintaining the swirl. And whenever something that's swirling condenses down into a smaller area, the swirl's tighter, but there's also more coherence between the air molecules. So it like jets out, like it goes. So getting a lot of moisture back into the polar regions, which is why we're looking at so much moisture up here in the into Canada and the upper plains. There's actually been really dry, warm, and kind of dry. But yesterday in Wisconsin, we actually saw a tornado touch down in Wisconsin, just southeast of Madison, and that was pretty significant because they, number one, don't get many tornadoes, and they, number two, especially don't get many tornadoes in February up there. So that was significant. We also saw, I think we've seen some tornado watches and warnings issued down here today. Let me go ahead and take a look at our, I think I had our outlooks, our warnings. Yeah, there we go. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted. Well, I mean, that's good. Be the same map that I'm pulling up, so we can leave it here. Here today in the United States, we've seen some coastal flood advisories here in the New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland area. We're still seeing significant, what is this? A gale warning up on the upper peninsula, north of the upper peninsula of Michigan. That's on Lake Superior. We see a winter storm warning working its way through. This is still the remnants of this storm, everything coming off of that California action that we've had this weekend. Still seeing gale warnings all across the, I'm going to switch to, since we're looking at the full, I'm going to look at, goes west instead of east, and go to the derived winds. Okay. It would be so cool if this was my only job and I got to just focus on making my own graphics and stuff and editing videos, but I don't have that. This is not my only job yet, so you don't get me coming ready with all the graphics, but stay tuned and it's gonna happen. Okay, so you can see on the derived winds, look at how it's booking it down the California coast. That is a really, I can understand why they got some high wind warnings there. We've also got winter weather advisories out in Nevada and Utah. Heavy warning. Oh, avalanche warning. Looking like we got avalanche warnings in Utah. And let's see, into northern Texas, winter weather watches and advisories. Still got that. This is where we're seeing that hail warning. And let's go. Let's see if I've got a product for that. Let me see if I got a product for. Yeah, okay, this will show us. I think Tornado HQ would be where we're going with this. Yes, here you go. We've got active warnings here just south of Little Rock, Arkansas. This is where we saw that big hail. This is the same storm from that. Let's zoom in and see. I mean, I would not be surprised to see a tornado popping off of this one. Um, yeah, extreme hail with this storm. Lot of like a really strong updrafts. We're expecting this to go here. And I mean, honestly, I would not be surprised to see a strong tornado coming out of that. That looks like really good textbook. I'm going to say it like the storm people do. This is textbook. I would expect to see a nice hook develop on the back side of this. Looks like we got a really clear amount of like an inflow, and we've got enough angular coning down of the entire storm itself. I wish I had the ability to broadcast radar omega on here right now, but I don't have the I don't have the radar omega app on here right now. So still looking at those severe thunderstorms up in the UP of Michigan, seeing a lot of isolated storm cells throughout the southeast at night, which if this was summertime, winter, like summer, spring, or fall, I would be like, oh man, we got to look out for those overnight tornadoes. But I just don't feel like there's enough, even though this is a really warm winter, I don't feel like there's enough available energy. You know what? I'm gonna show you why. I'm gonna go head here, and how do I even close this? Yeah, there we go. I want to go to forecast models, which I don't usually do, but I want to show you what we're working with for CAPE here today. CAPE being convective available potential energy. Which one is it? Where am I seeing it, guys? Tell me. Send me a vibe mentally. Why am I not? My Dawn, is it not on GFS? One moment. Working. That's the call we do in theater. If we're working on something, somebody tells us to do something else. I say, working. I'm working here. Where have I gotten to see that before? See, this is what I would edit out if I had time to pre-record and edit. But here I just have to, they've changed the shorthand for it on, okay. Yeah. Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot of CAPE to work with. Convective available potential energy being the nadir juice, or the it's the energy. There's not enough vibes there. There's not enough vibes to get a good, even here in, let's take this right near Little Rock. I mean, that's some pretty thick storms. Everywhere that you see the green is our dew point and the red is our actual temperature. And when they're actually all together, that's when you're like, oh, that is a cloud. So between the 300 level and the 500 level, those are some tall clouds. And then even here, this is still the temperature is pretty close to our wet bulb. So we're not even that far from our dew point. This is rising very similar to a completely saturated parcel would. And then as you go up, it's looks great for strong updrafts of hail. Doesn't look as strong for tornadoes all night, but this is probably the area where we're seeing the strongest potential for tornadoes. Let's go ahead and look at our... I don't want to look at it on this website. I'm going to go ahead and see our past weather. Let's look at where we got the rainfall today. That's not what I want. I'm going to go to this one. See, National Weather Service, people wouldn't leave your website if you had a prettier one. Okay. Let me see observations. Yeah. Okay. Let's actually go to, let's take a look at these temperatures because, oh, buddy, that's warm. That is very warm for our temperatures today. See, you can see that the mountains are still insulating us. We're getting that thermal mass effect again, where we didn't cool for months and months, and then now we are holding on to the cold better than anywhere else. The more land you have, the better you'll grab onto that. And look at that nice right angle right there. You can see that this is about to, you can see that, almost see that on this. Let me go back to east and you can see it better. Yeah. Look at that sharp corner right there that we got. This will slice up into its own little storm system. This jet is really what's giving us storms, and it's not even really a frontal type of storm system. It's just from that atmospheric river, but we're going to shape into a better looking front off of this nice wedge there. Now we are getting a bit of and that'll be a cold front. This should shape into a cold front. I don't know, you never know what'll happen, but looks like that is creeping down well into the plains. Still not anywhere near as cold as it should be. Like farmers are being able to till their fields up here, and that they should be still frozen solid under feet of snow right now. Very wacky weather from maybe it's from El Nino, maybe it's not. Let's go ahead and switch to looking at our accumulated precipitation though. Observed precipitation. All across the nation, precipitation. We've got a lot of it. Actually, not as much as we've seen recently. This has been a wet winter. That's a pretty decent. If this precipitation were snow, man, that would look pretty normal. But this is rain. They're just getting a lot of rain up in Wisconsin and in North Dakota and Minnesota. Yeah, we're looking at yeah, you can see these like isolated bands of accumulation here. That's from those little isolated cells. And that's because you need, in such a strong jet formation, you need a little trip point. You need a little choking hazard, a little grit. You need a little grit on the surface to spin up a big storm circulation, because this is where you really get that butterfly effect cascade of energy. Once something starts to trip up, it just feeds into a cycle where it creates a little storm. And that's what we're seeing. These isolated tracks of storms are where there was just enough grit in the surface interaction layer to spin up a good storm. And then we haven't quite seen much accumulation in the mountains yet, but there is plenty of grit there for weather to spring up. So I expect that we'll get some good rain. Not decent rain, but like good rain into the mountains here. Now I've gone on quite long enough about the atmospheric weather, considering we've got so much going on in our volcanic and earthquake weather. So, and our oh my gosh, I didn't even tell you, there was an X-class solar flare today, an X 3.38. From that sunspot we saw just rotate out of Earth view. So let's try to get through these terrestrial updates, and then we can talk about our then we can talk about our solar flares. Okay. Show plate boundaries and go to satellite view. All right. Okay. So look at these earthquakes already jumping out. Oh, did I do the right dates? No, I did not. I did not get to the right dates here. Let's do from yesterday. There we go. There we go. That looks more like it. From yesterday to today, showing nothing. Really? Really? That's quite impossible. Okay, I'm not getting any new quakes on Earthscope, which is interesting. I'm going to try to call this up on Volcano Discovery. Let's show quakes as well. Maybe the people from the website saw my show and they didn't like it. Show plates. Earthquake list. Showing any? Just none earthquakes left beef. I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. Let's go to Earthquake 3D. Yeah, look at me just boldly Googling stuff in front of you guys. I don't care. I don't got nothing to hide. Okay, that's more like it. There was that 7 days ago over in Oklahoma. We had this big stack of earthquakes that got us to the eruption in Iceland, coupled with that 5 out here. Now I'm surprised that they don't have that Mid-Atlantic Ridge quake going on, but that's okay. Now let's see if there are any in the past day. Yeah, why am I not showing this on that other feed? I don't know. But we've got this. Okay, so there was a 4.6 in Southern California, a 4.7, 2 4.7s here off the coast of Mexico, another 3 4.7s in Mexico today alone. And they actually happened. These were earlier in the day, and today we just now at 20-ish UTC we got a little bit. Well, we got a stronger one, the same amount. So these are, looks like these were first, these two, and then it twinned out, and some of the motion went into California and southern Mexico. And we see a 5.6 here in Hawaii. Hawaii seeing a 5.6. I don't have the advanced version of this, so I can't copy the coordinates. But we also see Ooh, a 6.1 here in the New Caledonia region, 4.9 in Tonga, 5.3 near Fiji. Well, I'm kind of guessing at where these centers are because I can't see exactly. This is why I don't use Earthquake 3D on here very often, because I can't see it very well. But looks like all of this energy is pointing into here. 6.1 right here. That's pretty significant. I wonder if it's deep. I can't tell on this this particular way of viewing the quakes. 4.7 also here in the Philippines. Oh, and a 4.7 here, just south of, like, right in the middle of the H-shaped plate boundary here at southeast of Japan, which is a more normal place to have them than where we saw earlier in like over on the northwest side. Let's check out, oh, surprisingly quiet from Alaska. A 5.1 down here in, let's see. Yeah, I can't really tell if that's in Peru or Bolivia. I can't tell. But we have a 5.1 down here. And then pretty quiet, thankfully quiet, finally in the Western China, Kyrgyzstan region. Yeah, so we see a little bit of a rippling of 6.1 and 5.6 standing out, but globally, lots of 4.7s. Let's just show you where all those 4.7s line up with each other, too. So right across, you see a 4.7. How do they all line up? Looks like none are really on their antipode, but when we look at the opposite side of where we have been seeing deep quakes in this Fiji, Tonga area, we're getting a nice spread off of that. Really interesting to see these evenly spaced. Oh, let me turn off inside. Really interesting to see these evenly spaced 4.7s across the West Coast here. I wonder where that momentum will go next. It's quite interesting. It's all like Jenga pieces. The common theory currently is that the tectonic plates are and the Earth's crust are Jenga pieced in together, and when there's a quake, it kind of loosens up and jiggles up places that weren't loose and jiggly before, and then there's a lower threshold to moving, and then you can get more movement than you usually could. The power doesn't come from nowhere. It's potential energy being stored or converted into kinetic energy by way of the resistive thresholds being lowered or changed. Like when you're playing tug of war and somebody just lets go all of a sudden. When there's a nearby earthquake, it can feel like somebody on the other team just let go of the rope, and you're just like, whoa, I was pulling way too hard to stay still. I thought we were staying still, and now I'm moving from the same amount of energy exerted. That's what like a rock feels like when it's going through an earthquake. Okay, not to personify rocks too much on Maine. Just over here doing it. Let's go ahead and take a look at our solar flares. I think we know that we've had quite a bit of activity today. Okay, so first of all, this was our 8 yesterday. Let's go ahead and see what that yesterday's partial halo event looked like. Whew, I gotta stop yawning. I gotta go back to work. Yeah, you can see, okay, even on this is the area where 3575 was flaring like crazy yesterday. You can see it continue to put off all those gases. Now let's see the event that led to today's X3.3. Wow, blammo. Look at that. Oh my God, look at that. And you see all these radiation particles. Remember when we get these really fine speckled difference images? This is from alpha through gamma type radiation. These are the like particles. What particles? I say it in quotes because that gets into something else. But these are the radiation particles showing up on the difference imaging. And when you can see so much like that, that is a lot of radiation. And take a look at, I just want to click through. Look at how large that explosion is. I mean, explosion. This coronal mass ejection is. This is beautiful. This is like a nice, in 1 second. So you can really see it all launching from that 3575, going into big chungus, a big chungus of a explosion of a coronal mass ejection here. So I want to see, let's see, max velocity, pretty significant. Let's take a look at, and that was at 1325 UTC. So do your UTC math off of that. The only other one we had today was another little burp, a little warning burp, a warning belch from this area. But everywhere else on the sun, pretty quiet in the sheer number of mass ejections we've had. Now let's see what that has looked like on our solar flare progression chart. Didn't I say I was expecting an X soon? Look, didn't I say that it looked like, if you just are somebody that watches waves, this looks like it's a waveform amping itself up? That is like well into R3 radio blackout territory. That's an X3.38. And that came right after, you see, this almost dipped down to B class territory. This peaked up so fast after that. This is crazy. It's crazy how right I am. I'm sorry. Then shortly after, followed by a little peak up into the M class, and then we went back into M again. I have a feeling we'll go down significantly in our solar flux for a second, like for a little bit. I think we're going to be doing that echo effect where we have to peak down into the lows before our momentum swings up again. But look at that. That's a beautiful flare. And we still have region 3576 rotating into view. So we are, from all of this, looking at an S2 moderate solar storm radiation, infrequent effects on HF radio through polar regions and satellite operations. Actually, when this X-class flare occurred, we had some radio blackout activity, and it was located mostly over South America. Because this was in kind of the southern hemisphere of the sun. Now, some things like actual plasma and coronal mass ejection solar wind differences take maybe a few days to get to us. But when you have these X-rays, when you have the solar flares, those travel from the sun to the earth in a matter of 8 minutes. So these are pretty immediately felt when you have these solar flares are pretty immediately felt when they happen, and they're felt by people who are more electrically sensitive, people who might get headaches from being around too much radio pollution, or certain lighting triggers a migraine, things where your central nervous system feels off when there's a big change in the background state of the world electrically. Those people know who they are. If you're wondering if it's you, it's like you just might not have put it together yet. But if there's something where you're like, man, I just randomly feel bad and I can't figure out why, I'm not saying it's solar flares. I'm just saying this is one pattern you could look into to try to look for some correlation, because there are people who have found, there are some people who have found that they've had some really strong reactions to this type of stuff. Anyway, I'm getting off track. There are so many other YouTubers who are going to explain what it's like to be sensitive to electromagnetic radiation that are not me. So I'm just going to tell you what happened today. We had an X-class flare, and it was right after, at midnight, we had just seen two back-to-back M-class flares, almost to the R2 radio blackout stage like we had just 2 days ago. And then now we're seeing this X-class flare. So let's go ahead and look at the pretty picture on that. Let's see what this is shaping up to look like. Let's do, I want to look at this 193 angstrom. And take a look down here on this southeast quadrant. It's really working itself up. I think that was it. There, that pop you see as we're getting to this part in the timeline. Working its way through. Getting a little bit of building up. Pow! You can almost see it inflate, like the filaments around it, and or the you can see the arcs around that spot blowing up like a bubble and then popping like a bubblegum bubble. Getting ready. Oh, it's filling up, and then very cool job, son. Good job, son. Something I long to hear. Good job, son. Okay, now look at all these really cool swirly patterns too. Scientific term, really cool swirly patterns. I believe they're called Rossby waves, but that's a little bit out of my depth. This is a gorgeous sunspot region. I wonder if we're going to get, as we rotate into Earth view, if we're going to get similar amounts of activity from this 3576. Let's watch this in the composite view. Yeah, you can really see the different levels of it swirling up and arcing up and getting ready to go. See, blinking lights and the flashing and the arcing over. This is a soup pot boiling hot. Look at that. Okay. Gorgeous. Now, as I said, I do have other jobs, so I need to speed through this. I know. If you'd like to make this my only job, you can donate to me in the description of every video. I've got a link to both my coffee account and my Things to Get Me account. And on the Things to Get Me account, there is an option to just donate money. So if you'd like to, the option's out there. Okay. Now look at this planetary lineup that we've got going on. We had the new moon today. So really right around the time, like the same day that we had this X flare released, the moon was perfectly aligned with the sun, in the way of the sun. So it went sun, moon, earth. That's what a new moon alignment looks like. And with that, right in front of the sun. It looks behind on the zodiac wheel, but that's because like when we're thinking about solar spots, like sunspots rotating into and out of Earth view, the sunspots are rotating from being more aligned with Earth here to being facing the area of the sky where these planets are. So we've got as they're moving away from us, they're getting that good view of this Mercury, Pluto, Mars, and Venus action going on, which can't do nothing to the gravitational pull. Still seeing the most prominent aspect right now being that Mercury squaring Jupiter, which is not a super happy way to be, but definitely great for growth and constructive criticism. We've also got Saturn and Jupiter's sextile still within 1 degree orb, but separating. And we've got that, I mean, we're moving out of orb of Venus and Mars being conjunct, but Mars is about to conjoin Pluto. Well, technically, Mars is in a closer orb to Pluto than it is to Venus, so doesn't really think it's in a Venus situation. It thinks it's in a Pluto situation. So look out for your Mars. Look out for your victim consciousness if you're feeling your Mars Pluto self. Not saying people with Mars Pluto are victims. I'm just saying, like, that's a sunken version of it. Can be the most powerful and change and noteworthy and happy person out there, but also in a bad state could be rough. So I'm gonna go ahead and close this out with a card. I'm gonna cleanse my throat. And remember, when there's solar radiation coming, we need to be increasing our nutritional value of our food. I mean, we should be eating nutritious food every day, but make sure you're getting the right micronutrients in your diet too. Magnesium, iodine, get your copper, zinc. All of those micronutrients in your diet are not used very often and a lot in the body, but they are helpful for the processes that help us compensate with uncommon circumstances. So to be sure and support your thyroid health, make sure that your iodine intake is sufficient to help your adrenal function in your pituitary and thalamus region. Remember to make sure that you have enough magnesium. That's one of the things that a salt bath or even a foot soak with Epsom salts will be really good for increasing your magnesium intake by osmosis if you don't want to take a supplement. And of course, vitamin D is really good, but you need to have the right micronutrients to create the in order for your body to absorb the vitamin D, you have to have a few of those important micronutrients. So that being said, there's also a lot you can do based on what you feel. So let's see what the cards have to say about that today. Oh, just jumped out. Okay. No one else needs to know this. It is not necessary for even one other person to understand these laws of the universe. for you are the attractor of your experience. Just you. So, thanks for being here. I don't know if I don't know how many people need to know this, but I need to know it. And you need to know it. No one else needs to know this. I need to know this. Good to know. I love you all very much. Thank you so much for coming back to this channel. I appreciate your support, every one of my loyal viewers who tune in. It's very nice of you. I promise I'll get better. I already feel like I am. So thank you so much. Have a great evening and stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves and each other. I love you very much. Have a good night. Bye. Bye-bye.